3 payments with 1 deposit. This would be, not including the follow-ups, this would be a 6-figure event. This would be a $100,000 event, okay? Not including the front end with 22 paid, okay? So that to me is huge. So first of all, guys, let's all give Stella a huge round of applause for doing a first ever event, massive success, and I so wish that everybody implements like her.
Now, when it comes to scaling offers, this is the strategy that most people have, which is they'll close their eyes and they'll just pick something, right? Like, what do you scale? Should you change and make tweaks to your offer? Should you add in upsells? Should you target a wider audience, increase your ad budget? Should you utilize something else, send people a high ticket? Now, today in this video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to how do you strategically think about scaling. When you have some sort of offer that's somewhat doing well, what should you actually do? How should you think about it? Should you increase your ad spend? Should you cast a wider net and target a wider audience? Should you just increase your ad spend? Should you add in upsells? How do you strategically think about this and put it into action? Okay, so I'm going to be taking behind the scenes to a coaching call that I recently did to walk you through the process so that you'll be able to apply it in your business. Okay, let's begin.
By celebrating some wins, I saw a very notable one that stood out, and I just wanted to quickly just shout out Stella. That has been, like, I so wish everybody implements like her. So one of the things that Stella did is she made a post and she said that she had an amazing weekend and she did her first ever webinar on January 19th. Okay, so it's just this year, just a couple of months ago. I know that for some of you, maybe you've never even done your first webinar before, but she did her first one just, what, 4 months ago, 3.5 months ago. Okay, and you can see that since then she's done 8 webinars, $12 cost per lead. That leads audiences to a 2-day masterclass in Singapore. She had 22 paid attendees, closed, and the room with the partners was close to 50 packs. And she closed a high ticket offer, just one offer by the way, $25K during the event, 3 officially fully paid, 1 deposit, and working on the application calls this week. Okay, so this is her first ever event, and to me, first events are extremely memorable because you've always heard me say this. It's not about how many people that show up in your first event, but the fact that when you do that first webinar, the first training, the first fill in the blank, the first funnel, the first phone call application to high ticket, that first thing that you do, it's the breakthrough and the belief that is built that far exceeds the result or how many people or how many sales or how many applications. Because moving forward, once you are able to break through that thing, then it's all about just taking what went well, eliminating or reducing what sucked, and just refining it and doing it over and over again. 3 payments with 1 deposit. This would be, not including the follow-ups, this would be a 6-figure event. This would be a $100,000 event, okay? Not including the front end with 22 paid, okay? So that to me is huge. So first of all, guys, let's all give Stella a huge round of applause for doing a first ever event, massive success, and I so wish that everybody implements like her. So just real quick, Stella, my team's gonna unmute you right now. I just wanna, if you could just share maybe what you learned, how you feel in this journey from doing your first ever webinar to your first ever event, closing your first ever high ticket $25,000 offer. And I know that this was something that you initially had some reservations and doubt, right? You're thinking, oh man, is it too much? What if nobody takes us on an offer? I think this will really inspire everybody else here in this room, that journey that you've accomplished in the last 4 months. Could you just walk everybody through what it is that you did, what worked well for you, what made a huge difference in this journey that you wish you knew when you were just starting up?
Thank you. Anyway, just an update. We have 4 fully paid, 1 on follow-up. We had about 10 over people who submitted for inner circle and high ticket offer. We got 3 different offers, but mostly for people go for the second or the highest. Then 1 more came in on the follow-up, paid in full. So it's a 6-figure event. 1 other one is starting in July, so we hold back the deposit. And I started with webinar. I would say, let me just bring it back to the history. Maybe it will bore you, but I think it's important for us to come to a point to realize that sometimes it's just about us to take action. I started with Legacy Accelerate last year. And then by the time I came for the Game Changer Intensive, the first event that Peng Joon did, I decided to upgrade to Mastermind because I knew that I can only take faster action with people kicking my ass. Sorry, I seldom use such words, but anyway. And I came for the Mastermind meetings. I came for implementation week. So I think November last year, I came for the first implementation week, did the webinar, was uncomfortable with the message. And I decided to just launch with the message regardless. It's not about perfecting, it's just going with it first and see whether we need to refine. And after a while, I realized that, hey, somehow the message works. The copywriting that Peng Joon gave me, which was strange to me, it works. So I started the webinar every week. Our average cost was about $12-ish to $13 per registration. So initially, when I first started the first one, I technically followed proven presentation. If you guys are in Legacy Mastermind, you've not downloaded that, I think you're missing out everything. You just download that and just repurpose it for your own content and your own offer. So I started with that. And some days I closed worse. And even the latest one, I was very uncomfortable. Recently, I just had another round. After my masterclass, the first webinar, I went uncomfortable again.
Okay, so just pause 1 second, okay? Because I want everybody to learn from your experience. So I can see from your post over here, your first webinar was January 19, you've done 8 webinars. So does that mean you've been doing that once every 2 weeks?
Once every week.
Once every week.
When I first started, I started before Chinese New Year. I decided to launch before Chinese New Year. Then I stopped 2 weeks for Chinese New Year. Then I came back and every week we didn't stop.
Okay, so guys, the first thing I think to just notice is that it's not all rainbows and unicorns, right? It's been, a 3-month journey. Stella's been doing it every week with the exception of Chinese New Year where she took 2 weeks off. But other than that, if you take a look over here, she has 22 paid attendees, which means it's an average of 3 sales per webinar, which in the grand scheme of things is not much. But again, what is the most important thing? It's about getting the reps in. It's about getting the practice in so that eventually when you reach a level of conversions that is good and you have the confidence in the back end that your back end converts, I guarantee you now, this is when Stella's gonna go, oh man, so maybe our webinars now we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive because I know that if I can get 50 people to my room or my event or my training or fill in the blank, right? This is when I know that I can get about 10% of people to apply and work with me and close and to be able to get them on the 25K offer. And because it's going to be 100K off on the back end, that's going to give Stella the confidence to scale ads even more aggressively. And that's hopefully something I want you guys to see. First hot seat submission that we have is again from Stella. Let's take a look and see. Before I look at your submission, okay, Stella, we're going to bring you back up. Stella, why don't you walk us through first? So based on what it is that you've done, what would you say you would like to get out of this hot seat that you feel will either help you get unstuck or help you scale?
Scaling. We are looking at scaling. So one, I have my value ladder done. During the event, we realized that no one is going for the lower tiers. So we want to work on the value ladder to see what's the missing part in the value ladder that's not getting people on it. Why is it that the other one is we sort of know why the other one is extremely attractive because it's do with us. Totally do for you, technically, in some parts. However, we are seeing how can we get more people in at the low level, entry level, so that we can continue to nurture them. Eventually, they become private circle. That's one part. 2, just now we mentioned, how can we get more people into the first webinar, every webinar. Now we have about 15. If we can scale to 50 at the closing rate of 20 to 30%, which means we can close higher, we have more people attending, we get more chance of getting people to look at what we can offer in for them at the masterclass.
Okay, so let's deconstruct some of the things that's happening so far. So I'm taking a look at some numbers over here. Okay, let's find out, right? So in order to first decide what Stella should be doing and what Stella should be scaling, let's take a look and see at the current breakdown of this practice. Okay, so let's take a look. What's happening right now is, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of like a funnel stack. There's a few things happening. Okay, so number one, there is a webinar that happens. Okay, Stella runs ads to this. Okay, now at the end of this webinar, Stella, what's the price point of this offer that you're selling?
997.
Okay, 997. Amazing. Okay, so ads going into a webinar. Okay, this webinar sends people at the end of this webinar. There's an offer. The offer is basically to a 2-day event. Okay, and on this 2-day event, the result of this is you had a 25K offer. Okay, you had about 10 people applying, and 4 people has made full payment so far. Okay, together with some other applications that you might want to downsell to. Okay, this was where you had approximately, how many people was there at the event in total, including
with partners close to 40.
Okay.
Close to 50. Sorry, with partners and a few people in addition that we invited.
Okay, so approximately 50 people in the
But
room.
only 22 paid.
Okay, 22 paid. Okay, so 22 paid, and with some guests and the plus one, that's about 50 packs in a room. Okay, you made an offer, 4 people paid, and then I can see from your submission here, it says you spent about $9,000 in ads. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you've done 8 webinars so far.
I miscounted is 9.
Oh, 9 webinars so far. Okay, so 9 webinars so far. Typically, on average, you're saying that there would be about 15 show-ups. Is that correct?
Yeah. Average
15
15.
show-ups, and out of the 15 show-ups, typically about 3 people. Is there about 3 people that will buy?
Yeah. So on bad days is 1. But
Okay.
most, then average is 3. We can take it.
Okay, average is 3. Okay, so
Roughly,
let's
yeah.
just take the average. Okay, 3 buyers at $997. So typically you'll make about 3K. Okay, so and then at this event, that's when you send people to the offer, right? And then the offer is basically this 25K. Okay, so everybody clear on this, right? This is the current practice. So here's the question. Okay, it should be fairly straightforward, but if you are in Stella's shoes right now, there's always, again, the 3 major things that you can work on. Do you think option number 1, in order for Stella to scale this entire thing, number 1, is it to work on the offer, make it more compelling, in order to increase the conversions and how many people are buying on the webinar? Should we be looking at her slide deck, her offer, what's being sold at a 2-day event or at the webinar to increase the conversion? Okay, or do you think number 2, we should be working on the funnel to make it deeper so that each customer is worth more, and working on the upsell, the application? Or do you think number 3, the third thing we should be working on is on traffic in order to scale this thing? Okay, guys, let me know in the comments right now. I want to see how you think. Is it offer, funnel, or traffic? What do you think we should be doing with Stella right now? Stella, what do you think?
2 parts. One is increase the numbers from to the webinars so that we can, because average closing is about 20% thereabout. For 15 people, 2 to 3 thereabout. I'm just giving a rough 20%. So if I can have more people and closing at 20%, I would actually increase the number of people going to my masterclass. Then from the masterclass is the conversion, because we have 22 people, let's say this time, 5 people bought. These 22 have another 5% who comes in at the lower tier so that they can nurture a relationship with us and then move towards the higher ladder in the long term.
Okay, I love that answer. Okay, so notice what Stella's saying. 2 main things. Okay, the low-hanging fruit is what pretty much all of you said. Okay, number 1 is, of course, today's session with Stella. I think it's a lot more straightforward than some of the other hot seats. It's very clear that the first thing should be traffic. Why? Because the conversion already is in place. 3 out of 15 people, on average, 20% close rate on $997 offer. I want to be able to just mention this up front. At scale, you're not going to maintain those numbers. Okay, I do not have a 20% close rate on a $997 offer to a cold audience at scale. Right now, it's possible to maintain this because your audience size, you're targeting, maybe there's still a lot of warm/hot audiences. But eventually, as you grow out and you target a larger and larger audience and you cast a bigger net, this conversion rate will fall, and that's okay, right? That's all part of scaling, okay? So therefore, that's why we don't need to work on an offer, and that's why number one is the traffic first, because the conversions are there, okay? For some of you, if you're just starting out, chances are it's your offer that you need to work on. But right now, offer is solid. Why? Because the conversion is there, and Stella has enough practice. She's attended enough hot seats and trainings and implementation weeks to be able to start scaling this. Okay, so yes, this is what we're going to work on. So let's work on this first. Okay, so I can see that you spent $9,000 in ads. Okay, I believe inside the submission sheet here, you said that you've been paying about $12 cost per lead. Is that accurate?
Per registration.
Per registration? Okay.
But now it's gone up to about 14 recently.
Okay.
That's good. I
Okay.
think.
So right now, notice the cost per lead or cost per webinar registrant, okay, is $12 to $14. And because again, this is the financial market targeting Singaporeans, expect this number to go up as you're scaling. But again, that's okay. Why? Because let's look at the scaling numbers next. Based on this, how many people would show up right now?
15.
15%?
Show up for webinar?
Yeah.
That's a good question. 15 out of maybe 50 people register. So 30%?
30%.
Yeah. Sometimes
Okay.
less. 20 to 30, you just put it. Some days I have 60 registrants, some days I have 50.
Okay, here's the thing, okay, guys. I know that Stella is making a lot of you here feel bad because you're looking at these numbers and you're going, I don't have a 30% show up rate. Guys, I want to tell you something. I don't have a 30% show up rate, okay? Now, obviously, Stella has really built up a very good follow-up process, email, SMS reminders, all of that. But again, at scale, as you start to scale up, do not expect to have a 30% or even 20% show up rate. I can tell you that my events, if I can have a 20% show up rate, I'll take it. For those of you that's been on enough calls, okay, when you see this as the full picture now based on what it is that Stella's doing, what do you think is my question for her? What would Peng Joon say or think in this scenario? To summarize, Stella has done 8 webinars. She spent $9,000 in ads, which is on average $1,000 per webinar that she does every week. So her ad spends like $1,000 a week. Based on this, by spending $9,000 in ads, she has got 22 sales. So that means by spending $9,000 on the front end, just over here, she spent $9K to get back $22K in sales. So this is a more than double, an over 200% return on ad spend. So by spending $9,000, she got $22K. And after she does her 2-day event, she makes an extra $100,000 over here. So that means by spending $9,000, she just did over $122,000 in ad spend when she includes the back end over here. Not including follow-up, not including a downsell, not including any future sales or based on these leads. Okay? So based on this would be a 12x return on ad spend. 12x. Guys, can you see why an event funnel is superior? Guys, show of hands, you can see why an event funnel is superior. You can't achieve this with any other event, any other type of funnel, okay? So based on this, guys, let me know in the comments, okay?
We are thinking of broadening the audience because right now we attract 45 onwards. We have very few on the lower age group that potentially would fit our offer as well. But maybe not the high ticket for that group, but maybe the 25 onwards to 35, that range of people. Maybe the next target market we want to attract and different sets of assets for that.
22 people have paid for it and 50 people have experienced this. Which means in the grand scheme of things, that's still nothing. It's nothing. It's nobody. Nobody has seen your offer yet. So rather than thinking, oh, let me target a younger audience, a different audience, 20 years old, people who's just started with a job. No, eventually you can do that. But right now, let's focus more on these people because you know that these people with this specific interest, with this specific age, has been giving you this result right up to this point. And it's not like it's reaching ad fatigue. It's not like Singapore is running out of 45-year-olds and above, okay? That's into property, okay? Because this is still nothing in comparison to people that will be interested in investing in property at 45 years old and above living in Singapore. So right now, your goal is not to cast a bigger net to target a wider audience just yet. Your goal is not to expand on the audience and target 20 years old who just started to work. Your goal is not to start targeting other countries. Why? Because you've made a 6-figure event with 22 people that paid with 50 people in room. So this just tells me that we just need to scale this first. And the way to scale this is not necessarily just targeting a wider audience, but rather more of the same people. So how do you target more of the same people? Well, back to scaling ads, okay? Let's talk about that. So Stella, what have you done in terms of ads? How many creatives do you have running right now based on your current ad spend of, I'm guessing, about $1,000 a week?
Can I ask Daniel in because he runs the ad for me?
Okay.
My husband.
Daniel, you are called, you are summoned. Daniel, welcome to the call.
Hi.
Welcome,
Peng Joon.
Daniel. So Daniel is the person that's running the Facebook ads. Daniel, why don't you walk us through what you've been experiencing or doing with your current ads?
Okay, initially I have about 4 or 5 ad sets. I think one of the ad sets will be like videos, and then the other ad sets will be focusing on images. Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
how many videos and how many images do you have right now?
Right now I only focused after the, I think this should be our 11, 12 webinars. I just focus on the 3 or 4 winnings ads. So probably 2 videos and 2 image. Yeah. But so far the champion ad sets is the one that have whereby we give them the guide, on block guide and the short list. Yeah. That's the almost like 80%, 70-80%. Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, I wanted to look at the ad, but I think the link that
Yeah.
was sent
Okay.
over was the ads manager ad, which is not the right link. Even without looking at ads right now, I can tell you what's required in order to scale. Okay, you take that winning ad, and what you want to be able to do is to create more variations based on a similar message,
Okay.
create videos, as well as images around the main ad that's giving you the best cost per lead. So based on this, I'll show you guys this hack on scaling ads when you have something that is somewhat profitable. Okay. So right now, what Daniel has effectively showed us is he's got one image ad that he knows is doing well. It's profitable. He puts $1 in. He's getting back about $2.20 immediately. But after a person attends the back-end event training, after that it becomes 12x or 1,200 return on ad spend. But the problem is, it's not as easy as, oh, in that case, let us put $10,000 a day on this ad utilizing this same ad, because it will reach a point where it will collapse. There will be a point of diminishing returns where the same ad is being seen by the same people over and over again, and this thing will crash. Okay? For sometimes this could happen when it's $500 a day. Sometimes, depending on the market, it could reach when it's $1,000 a day. Sometimes it could be $5,000 a day. So what we want to be able to do in order to avoid ad fatigue and to be able to scale, especially when there isn't a whole lot of creatives, is to be able to ride on the angle and the hook that is proven to work. Okay, so how do we tell? So right now you can see on the image ad there is one main hook, which is this thing known as on-block property investing. Okay, now this thing over here, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to utilize this topic and this angle. So for example, I could put in a prompt which is reason for wanting results. I can tell ChatGPT, say, create a list of reasons that investors would want to have in order to invest in properties on block. Okay, reason for wanting results. ChatGPT does all the thinking for you, which is, oh, to get a bulk discount, oh, to be able to have negotiating power, oh, to be able to have a predictable outcome, right? Let ChatGPT do all the thinking for you. ChatGPT can also think about what are the things your audience would dislike in order to result, right? What are some of the things that target audience of investors would dislike or avoid when it comes to investing in property en bloc? Okay, and guess what? So for me, in this example here was for speakers, right? Oh, fear of rejection. Oh, limited time and resources. Oh, client base. Oh, resistant to change. Oh, they prefer word of mouth, right? So now, ChatGPT thinks about all of the things that your audiences dislike. Okay, you could ask AI to think about what are the different reasons of why they want to invest in what your offer is. Okay, what is your offer? Your offer is in our mastermind to be able to buy property together in bulk, right? To be able to invest in 8-week training on coaching to help you secure your next property, whatever it might be, okay? So for me, it would be, if this was a public speaking course, it would be, to improve presentation skills, to increase confidence, to be able to expand a wider reach, to be able to stand out from competitors. So right now, guess what? All these points that AI gives you, they're all a different ad, they're all a different video script, they're all a different social media post. Okay, guys, this is why clearly all of us we're able to play this game in easy mode. It doesn't get any easier. Okay, so what are some of the roadblocks or struggles that investors might have in the pursuit of this result, in the pursuit of en bloc investing, right? That's when they say, they'll list it off for you. Lack of finances, right? Unable to get a bank loan, right? Huge capital outlay. So now, AI does all the answers for you. So for us, we put this in here. This would be lack of visibility, strong competition, inconsistent branding, marketing budget. But if you take a look at this means that right now what you have is the vision. Invest in en bloc properties, right? Let's get a piece of building together. We'll all go in, right? And because we're going in together, we'll be able to have a bargaining power. We'll be able to negotiate at a better deal. We'll be able to secure or sell it to a specific developer in the near future and flip it, whatever it might be, okay? So now, if you take a look at this would be, what is the benefit to this result? Okay, so bulk discount, consistent profits, right? Predictable outcome, right? Get AI to do the thinking for you. Notice what it is that I put next. It would be, in the pursuit of this, what are some of the struggles or obstacles that they might face, right? Lack of finances, huge capital outlay, right? You need to have good standing in the bank. You need the ability to get a loan, right? You need to be able to have a group of people to do it together with you, and you might not have a network. Now, all these different answers, right? On top of that, after the struggles, now this could be talking about what can your offer do, okay? Now, just based on this, okay, what I've shown you, this immediately helps you create different ad angles, different talking points, different videos. So guess what? Each ad now, you could create a different video ad just talking about one specific thing, one specific struggle. Maybe the struggle is unable to secure a bank loan because you have a horrible credit rating, right? So maybe one ad would be, here's how you can get started with property investment even if you've got a bad credit rating and nobody is going to give you a loan. These are the steps in order to fix your credit score, right? Maybe the next struggle is buying bulk discount, right? You might be thinking, is it possible to get and negotiate a great deal even if you don't know anybody in the industry, and to be able to conservatively invest in a property at 10% below market value, right? Network. So now, the way you're going to expand on the ad is just to branch out and go deeper into a more specific talking point rather than just constantly hammering on en bloc property investing, right? Talk about the different types of results that it would get, right? One image per result, one video ad per result, a different video talking about a different struggle, a different image talking about a different struggle as well, or utilizing a different hook, So that's the power of AI right now. You can give them a hook. So here's the next thing you want to be doing. Based on the hooks that you've had that you feel is working, go to AI, and from here, ask them, and this is a crazy thing, right? Give me 10 variations of this headline in a factual but witty manner on why on-block property investing would be a beneficial way to get an unfair advantage in property investing. Now, they give you 10 different headlines. Pick 3, pick 5 that you feel is good, relevant, useful, and then use AI to expand on the headline.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes to this coaching call. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is. And as always, be sure to smash the like button. It does help the channel out a little bit. And to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified of future videos just like this one. Now, some of you asking me, how can I be part of this process? How can I ask you questions? How can I have you coach me or mentor me? We want to make sure that we are working with the people that's the right fit. You'll need to fill up a form. There's a link right below this video. Somebody on my team might give you a call to interview you to see if they're right fit for each other. And if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit, then all you need to do is click on this link in the description box below and my team will be in touch with you.